Hello everyone, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're right.
Right. So we are starting with the third class of geography, climatology, and a brief topic of oceanography, which is remaining. Uh, Today, the most important topic which is left for discussion, it is the climatic regions and the climatic classification. So while I'll be discussing this, it is advisable that if you can have a world map with you, so that while I'll be marking the places with you, you can also simultaneously mark, or you can draw a rough world map on your sheet of paper, and then you can simultaneously mark them, right? That will help in kind of better retention for you, right? So we are beginning, right? Climatic regions or the climatic classification. Basically, there are two ways. In your NCRT, it is given as Köppen classification, which is the general type of classification based on temperature and precipitation. Uh, while in GC Leong, it is given as different type of climates in a more detailed manner. We should have a brief idea of both the things. The NCRT one you should know the brief classification, how Köppen has used the symbols and what are the criteria. If you don't remember the data, that's still fine, but regarding the symbols and the overall idea of classification, you should have that idea what is A, B, C, small a, M, small w, because it can be a prelims question. What does this symbol denote and what does that symbol denote? And regarding the classification of GC Leong, uh, you should be having an idea of the basic idea of the classification regarding the climate, the vegetation, the agriculture, and the locations, because UPSC has time and again asked questions from such classification, right? So the first thing which we are discussing is the climate types in GC Leong and their Köppen equivalents, right? This one, right? So you just for your reference, I'm giving you this because I've told you that Köppen you have to read on your own, because there is nothing I can tell you there. It is just basically the cramming part which you have to do, right? So AF type of climate which is mentioned in Köppen, it refers to the equatorial climate. AM is monsoon, AW is savanna, BW is desert, BS is grassland, CS is Mediterranean, CFP is China type, CFP is British type, DFC is taiga or the boreal, which we say, DFB is Laurentian, and E is the Arctic or polar or tundra. Do not have to remember all of this or stress yourself on this. This is just for your reference, so that after you finish your climates here, and when you refer the Köppen classification, you can make a kind of parallel or draw a parallel between the type of climates, right? So that it is easier for you to remember that. Now we'll be starting the major important issue, which is the climatic classification, which has been given in the GC Leong, right? We'll be discussing the overall idea of climatic regions and some details regarding that. But I'll advise that one reading you should be giving to those the second part of GC Leong, because that will help you in gaining a better clarity of the things, right? So what you can do is whenever you start geography, let's say you've given a week to geography, every day kind of you can cover two chapters or two climatic types. In that way, you are not very stressed out on one particular topic, and you can kind of retain better by covering two types of climates in one day, right? So in a week, you'll be covering all the major climates, right? So we are beginning. This is the broad chart which has been given in the GC Leong. We'll be discussing this once we finish the climate, right? This is just a summary kind of thing. So number one is the equatorial. Equatorial climate, you all know, it is in the equatorial belt. We can, which you can say like 5 to 5 degree north and south, right? This is the easiest type of climate for you to remember. It is if I am to draw on a map, you can say that this is the region of equatorial, this one, right? This one, and some areas of this, right? This is the equatorial region. GC Leong has given very good charts on the location of different climatic regions, and you should use that, right? It is useful for your overall understanding as well as it can be a probable question in mains also in some way or the other. Right? They have asked the monsoon type of climate in 2017. So this is an important part which you should be doing, right? So equatorial rainfall throughout the year, same season, convectional rainfall. We all know that sun's rays are directly on that region, and as a result, there is convectional rainfall in that region, and that happens throughout the year. So there is basically no distinction in the season, and there is rainfall throughout the year. Thunder and lightning, the cumulonimbus clouds are formed, right? And what about the flora and fauna? Very dense vegetation, very dense canopy, kind of more than 70%, huge biodiversity, and growth of epiphytes on the main trees, right? What are the other details? Like the equatorial ecosystem or the equatorial climatic regions, they have very poor soil. Why? Because due to the heavy rain, poor soil as in there are lesser nutrients in that soil, right? Because due to heavy rain, leaching keeps on happening. Leaching means that the nutrients keep on percolating to the lower levels of the soil system, and as a result, the soil system as a whole is very poor, right? In poor as in the sense of nutrients, right? So, and just because the equatorial ecosystem, it is very complex. As a result, various number of food chains and food webs are linked to each other. Like it's not that there will be one food chain or one food web. It will be like multiple food chains and food webs which are existing together because of the existence of large number of species, right? So it can be like this thing linked here, this thing linked here, this thing linked here, then here, something like this. And what happens if the equatorial ecosystem is disturbed in some way? Let's say this chain is broken or this thing is broken, the whole system kind of collapses, or it gets on the verge of being collapsed, right? So in that sense, equatorial ecosystem is a very vulnerable system. That is a major concern around the human intrusion into the equatorial ecosystem, because it is believed or it is known that if the equatorial ecosystem is disturbed beyond the limit, it will be very difficult or almost impossible to regenerate it. In the short term, it will take around, let's say, 50 to 100 years to again regenerate itself. That is the basic concern around the Amazon fires and all that also, right? Next point is that no lumbering is possible in equatorial ecosystem. Why? Because number one, very different species in a small area. Like you can say that if you take a unit area, this area, species A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. So it's not like this will be like this, right? And lumbering requires that you find a particular species in a large area so that it is economically viable for the exploitation, right, for the lumbering purpose. So lumbering is not possible in that area, and also it is kind of a hardwood kind of tree trunk. That's why it is. This is also a reason why lumbering is not possible in equatorial region. Next point is that the livability issue, because high humidity, high temperature, almost rainfall throughout the season. That's why the it is not a very comfortable zone for human existence, right? Diseases are very common due to all these factors, right? Any doubt in this part, the equatorial ecosystem?
Sir, I didn't understand the vulnerable, like why is this ecosystem vulnerable, sir? If you could just explain it once more.
See, let's say you are the only earner of your family, right?
Okay.
So, in that sense, you can identify that I am a very important component of this thing, and nothing should happen to me, right? So that my family is not suffering. But let's say there are around 15 to 20 earners in your family, and or some, let's say, 5 to 10 earners. So in that sense, and each one is depending in some way on the other. Like one is giving something to another, second is giving something to another, and in that way there is very strong interrelationship between you people, right? So what happens if one chain is broken in any sense? Let's say one person gets ill or something happens to him. What will happen? That whole kind of ecosystem will get disturbed, right? That is why in the equatorial ecosystem, there are very huge number of species, and as a result, a very complex food chain and food web system is developed, right? And as a result, if there's disturbance in, let's say, even one food chain, let's say a certain autotroph species is getting depleted, or certain herbivore is getting extinct, or certain carnivore is getting extinct. So that is kind of disturb the whole ecosystem. In that sense, equatorial ecosystem is a very vulnerable ecosystem, right?
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Any other doubt to anyone? Right? We'll be moving to the next ecosystem then, or the climate type. Next is the monsoon type. The monsoon region you kind of know. Let's plot it on the map. This region, whole Indian subcontinent, right? This one, a bit in North Australia, and these are also the regions, but it is not proper monsoonal region, but kind of a maritime climate dominates here because of the coastal effect, right? And you know why the monsoon season, the primary reason is the seasonal reversal of wind belts, right? So in this region, the seasonal reversal happens very profoundly, right? Given in your GC Leong, the diagram is of location is given very clearly in your GC Leong, so you should be referring that, right? So subcontinent, Indian subcontinent basically, Gulf of Guinea, Northern Australia. Why? Because of the reversal of trade winds, right? We know the reason, no need to discuss it again, right? Climate, cool dry season, basically what comes, let's say from November to February time. Hot dry season, let's say from March to June, and the rainy season, the southwest and the northeast monsoons, right? As far as reference to India is concerned, right? It is wetter than the savanna. We'll be discussing savanna, but because of very heavy rainfall in 4 months, it is having average rainfall more than savanna, right? But rainfall is confined to only 4 months, right? Next is the vegetation, very varied. Forest you find here, savanna type grasses you find here, scrubs you find here, deciduous trees, hardwood forest. right? So the wood quality in this monsoonal area, it is kind of hardwood rather than the softwood, which is found in the temperate regions, right? That's why lumbering is also a bit difficult in the monsoonal regions, because hardwood is kind of difficult to cut down, right? Next, intensive agriculture. We all know how intensive agriculture is in India, or let's say the southeastern China and the Southeast Asia regions, right? Subsistence farming, shifting cultivation, especially in the Northeast India and certain regions of Southeast Asia, right? Now, one thing you should be doing, uh, although you should be reading all these chapters very carefully once at least, and then make your short notes out of them, right? But one homework which you should be doing, that there is shifting cultivation is known by different names in different regions. For prelims, in case it comes, just remember the different names for different regions, right? Given in your GC Leong, right? Lumbering in Southeast Asia is very prominent. Why? Because the major deciduous tree quality variety which is found there is the teak, and teak is very good in terms of lumbering because it has high durability, right? This is a fact which you have to remember, that lumbering is a major economic occupation in Southeast Asia, and which is a monsoonal kind of, which is having a monsoonal climate, right? Understood this? Monsoon, I don't think there should be much of issues. End out to anyone? Next is the savanna. Savanna
Sir,
is
could you
basically,
explain what is lumbering once?
lumbering is basically the cutting down of trees for various economic occupations, or you can say businesses. Like you supply it to the furniture market, to the sports industry, and all those things,
Okay, okay.
right? Savanna, it is also known as a Sudan type of climate, because Sudan is the primary region which witnesses the savanna type of climate. Not the only region, but the primary region, right? And it is found between the equatorial forest and deserts, right? We'll be marking this. See this. This is the region of equatorial forest. Let me mark it by green, right? This is the region of deserts, and this is the region of savanna, kind of this. So basically, the variation in precipitation is causing these different regions to develop. Very high rainfall, equatorial develops. Moderate rainfall, savanna develops. Least rainfall, desert type develops, right? And we discussed the reasons for desert types that day also, because of the offshore winds which blow, which carry no moisture, and the cold currents like Canary which blow here, right? These are the major reasons for development of deserts. So you've seen that equatorial, then the savanna type, and then the deserts, right? The location I'll be discussing here again of the savanna type. This one, right? This is the one location. Then in South America, these regions, they are known as the Llanos, right? And this is known as the Campos, right? And somewhat in Northern Australia. This is the region where the savanna types are found. Now you should have a broad idea why this is happening, and you must be comprehending that also. But basically you have to remember the particular region as to where these type of climates are found. So when you'll be repeating them or revising them often, you'll keep kind of remember all this, or you can make a one single world map and mark all those regions there, right? So uh, it is between the equatorial forest and deserts, clear, dry wet season, moderate rainfall, dry winters, and wet summers, right? Why? Again, the role of trade winds, because in summers, the trade winds are dominating, or the westerlies also play a bit role. But in winters, it is usually that the winds are offshore, right? So that's why that there is the winters are dry and the summers are wet, right? So clear dry wet season is seen in this region, right? And there is moderate amount of rainfall. Why we say moderate? Because monsoonal type of climate, this witnesses heavy rainfall than the savanna type of climate, right? As we've discussed here, right? This one. Next is very tall grass is found in this region. Very tall grass, very tall grass, right? This is also known as elephant grass. And what happens is that grasses usually they have a tendency that they catch fires. Why? Because grasses, due to competition with trees, they try to prevent the growth of trees, right? Because of minimal amount of moisture present there is a competition which is happening between grasses and between the trees, and as a result the grasses they catch fire, so that whole of the area is burned and the trees cannot grow, because trees require more kind of nutrients and everything, but grasses they are very you can say resilient and they can grow quickly, right? So this is one point which you should be remembering, can be asked in your prelim, that which region is famous for the fire in grasses, right? Very large carnivorous animals are found in this region. Basically, if you see any wildlife documentary or something, the major picture or video which you see, it is basically of the savanna region only. African regions are usually shown, and you see the giraffes, the lions, and elephants, and all those. Basically, it is a description of the savanna region only, right? You will find some trees with broad trunks, right, like this. They are basically they store water in it, because limited amount of water. So broad trunks they help to store the water, right? Yes. Next is the names I've told to you: Llanos and Campos in South America and Savanna in Africa. Briefly, it is found in Australia also, North Australia, but no specific name I think to that, right? Any doubt in Savanna type of climate? Okay, now next we'll be moving to the desert types. Number one location, the subtropical high pressure
So
belt.
for the,
We discussed.
excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes.
So for the savanna ones, could you explain the climate part for the savanna?
Yes, basically, na,
Means the
savanna mein what,
westerlies and the
I think I may have what one second. because you see that the savanna region, they witness rainfall in summer season and not in the winter season, right? And that what is the reason that in the summer season, it is the northeastern trades which are quite dominant in that region, right? And as a result, they bring rainfall. But in the winter season, they kind of become offshore, and as a result, they do not bring rainfall there, right? Because
Yes, sir. Yes.
ITCZ kind of shifts downward, no? So they shift offshore, right? So that is the reason that why the savanna climate has rainfall in summer season but not in the winter season, right?
Okay, sir. So there is no impact of westerly snow, sir, during that time frame?
I don't think. I think I
Yes, sir.
made a
It's only on
slight
trade winds.
mistake by mentioning westerly. But as on paper or in theory, westerly I think has no effect. But we know na ki there is effect of everything and anything. But on paper, I think westerlies have minimal effect on savanna type of climate, right?
Yes,
A
sir. Yes.
slight mistake from my side on that, but right. Next is the desert type of climate, the subtropical high pressure belt and the offshore winds plus the cold currents. We discussed this and location will be seeing it, right? See the location of deserts, right? Basically there are two types of deserts which have been discussed in GC Leong. Number one is the desert which is due to the effect of trade winds and cold current. Number one, like this is the Saharan desert. Then you see the Atacama desert. Then you see Mojave and Sonoran desert here, right? Western Australian desert. This is basically due to the effect of the high pressure belts and the effect of cold currents, like the Kalahari and Namib deserts here. And the second type of deserts which have been mentioned are the interior or the mid latitude deserts, which are basically due to the continentality effect. Why? Because being in the interior region, the rainfall does not reach here, and as a result, due to continentality effect, deserts are developed, right? Like the Gobi Desert, right? Turkestan Desert. Basically, the overall climate and aridity kind of remains the same for both these types, but these are two different types of deserts developed due to two different types of reasons, right? So location wise, are you clear with this? You see Benguela current, which is here, right? Then you see the Peruvian current here, the Californian current here, the Canaries current here, Western Australian current here, right? Any doubt in locations to anyone?
Sir, could you give few examples because of continentality? One is of Gobi and other is which desert, sir?
Turkestan Desert in the Central Asian region. Na?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Turkestan, right?
Okay, sir.
Yes. So it is the arid region, very little moisture, right? And facing water deficit, right? The climate is basically hot, dry, and water deficit, right? Flora fauna xerophytic. Xerophytic means number one, they are kind of the small shrubs and scrubland type of vegetation. Number two, the it is the drought resistant vegetation, right? Because there is lesser moisture. As a result, the vegetation there has to be drought resistant so that they can bear the water stress there, right? So if the term xerophytic comes in your exam, it means that the vegetation, there is drought resistance, right? It is kind of, it can survive without water, right? And similarly, there are hydrophytic, mesophytic, but xerophytic means this, right? It can survive without water. Then next is the what I explained to you, that there are two types of desert, hot deserts, which we mark like Sahara, Western Australian, Atacama, Sonoran, Mojave, right? Next is the mid-latitude deserts, basically developed due to the continentality effect, right? And what happens that in this continentality, in the summers, it gets very hot, right? And in the winters, it gets very cold. As you know, land has very low specific heat, right? So it gets very cold very fast, it gets warm very fast. As a result, the annual range of temperature is very high in the continental deserts as compared to the hot deserts which are found on the coast kind of thing, right? So this is an important fact you should be remembering. Continental deserts have high annual range of temperature, right? I hope you get the reason. Anyone having any doubt in this? What is the meaning of annual range? Why is it high? Anything, any doubt of any sort? I hope it's clear then, right? So we have discussed, I guess 4 we have discussed, right? Next is the steppe's type of climate. They lie in the westerly wind belt, right? Because they are kind of in the middle latitude. So they are mostly under the effect of westerlies, but far from its influence. Why? Because they are inland in the continents. So the effect of westerlies on the steppe type of climate is very less, right? Understood? You got this point. Steppes are basically found in this region, right? This is the steppes. Then this is the prairies. This is the pampas in Argentina, the velds in South Africa, the downs in Australia, right? But they fall under the effect of westerlies. But you see how far they are from the westerlies, right? As a result, the let's say the precipitation in these regions is lesser, right, than the savanna type of climate, right? Both are the grassland regions, but they are kind of bit inside or bit continental. That's why they have lesser precipitation, right? Now, the approach should be that you should be deeply understanding all these things. Why is it happening? And then at the end, you should be, let's say, when you are finally ready for your prelims, it should be like that you have all the basic points covered in your head, right? So that you're conceptually also clear, but you have crammed the most important points also, so that if you kind of get stuck due to some issue in the paper, you can recall the factual information also, right? So this is kind of some factual information which you should be remembering, right? Though UPSC has not asked very difficult questions on climate, but a basic idea should be there to you, right? So I mentioned the names here. Right? North America prairies, South America pampas, Central Asia steppes, South Africa veld, and Australia downs. Names you should be at least knowing, right? It is cooler than savanna. Why? Because the latitude effect, right? Lesser rainfall than savanna due to continentality, which I discussed, right? High annual range of temperature. Why? Again, the continentality effect, right? And in northern hemisphere, it is even more than in the southern hemisphere. Again, you know, the land component in northern hemisphere is more than the land component in southern hemisphere. As a result, the high annual range of temperature in northern hemisphere, right, as compared to the southern hemisphere, right? Then grasslands more extensive than savanna, even more extensive in northern hemisphere. There was some presence of trees in savanna, but in steppe type of climates in the temperate grassland regions, it is completely extensive grasslands, and you'll not find even a single tree for let's say hundreds and hundreds of kilometers, right? No trees, as rainfall is very less and there are severe winters, right? And another other details like the agricultural lands in these regions, especially the prairies, like they have been converted into the grasslands in these regions, especially the prairies, they have been converted into agricultural lands with extensive mechanization like wheat, maize, corn, and all that. It is kind of that maize or corn is fed to uh, the calves and buffaloes and cows, and then they are kind of slaughtered. So ranching is also a big business there, right? The industrial location part, when you'll be doing that, this is when you'll covering this, right? Why the major ranching or the animal livestock industries, they are developed in this region, right? Because it's kind of that the crops grown in this region, they are then fed to the to the animals, and then they're slaughtered. So slaughterhouses are developed, right? Then pastoral farming is very dominant, right? Nomadic herding, it was once very dominant, that nomads from they roamed one place to another, but it is kind of disappearing now, or it kind of has disappeared, right? So it is not a very major economic activity now, right? A miscellaneous fact: steppe is known or was known as the wheat bowl of the earth because back was very fertile, right? So despite adverse conditions, steppe was a very fertile region, and it still is, because the dark soil there was very fertile, right? Any doubt in anyone? Any doubt to anyone? Because we are done with this these type of climates, and we'll be moving on to the next after this. See, my aim of this lecture is not that I'll give you a complete understanding of the things in 1 hour. It's just that you have already read these. It's just that you need a better clarity of the things or a quick revision, so that after this lecture, you have all the broad points in mind, and you can, after you go, you read the chapters and you can better correlate the things, right? So that when you read the chapters, you do not find it that it is taking very much of your time, or you're not able to understand, right?
Sir, will it be
Eight out.
possible to share this document?
Yes, yes, surely this document will be shared today, because geography class will be complete. Geography classes will be completed today, so I'll share it this today, right?
Thank you.
Next,
So
we are moving on.
while explaining the climate part,
Mhm.
could you please show it on a map, what do you think, or how the westerlies other things move, so that we could get a better mental picture of the same?
Marking okay simultaneously, no? I marked equatorial, I marked deserts, I marked savanna, I marked monsoon, I marked steppe. That's why. What do I need to do
Uh,
more than that?
Yes, sir. Actually, like you're saying, also the condition during this time it would be more rainfall or would be a no rain with a combination of winter thing. So it is because of some particular wind pattern that is dominant. So if possible, could you show it on
Like,
that
let's
circle?
say, what, can you give me an example? I can explain that. That's what I'm saying, ki, you need to know the basic idea of the climate, right? What is the overall climate of that region? What is the location? What is the vegetation, right? If you are able to comprehend everything, that is very excellent, right? That this way trade wind is moving there, this trade wind is moving there, westerly is moving here, westerly is moving there. But if you are not, that is still okay. You should be knowing the basics of the most important thing, and after that, if you are not able to kind of understand, that is still okay. But what are the doubt? What is the doubt which you have in mind? I can clear that. Right? Tell me that. Which climate type do you want to discuss?
Hmm. For example, of the earlier one which you mentioned regarding the grasslands thing, and that I'm
Regarding
confused with the savanna, sir. Grassland and savanna is a bit confusion. Like, what are
savanna
the
and
factors which is impacting them? For example, if it is for the deserts, like you have very well said that it is might be because of the continentality or because of the desiccating effect of the cold currents. So
hmm
that is understandable. Uh,
hmm
and for the savanna and grassland, I was a bit confused because I couldn't get which part of wind pattern is dominating over there.
see, see, equatorial is this region, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. This is dominated by trade winds if we do not consider any apparent movement of sun, right? This is the ITCZ normal, right?
Yes, sir.
So trade winds are moving like this. It brings rain in this region, right? Similarly, this trade winds moving like this, right? Now, as you move upwards, you see that bit offshore, bit lesser equatorial rainfall and convectional rainfall. So majorly, the with the latitude, the intensity of convectional rainfall, it is decreasing, right, from equatorial to savanna type. As a result, the overall precipitation in that region is less or lesser, and as a result, it does not have that huge biodiversity or the canopy while it is having the grasses and trees, right? So it is the effect of trade winds only, but because latitudinally and also due to offshore nature in some regions, it is having lesser precipitation, right?
Yes, sir.
And similarly for steppe's, it is the westerlies. But you see, the westerlies, they cannot, I mean, they can, but when they go inwards, they kind of lose their moisture, right? When they enter this region. So that is the reason for lesser rainfall in this region, right?
Yes, sir.
And understood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got it.
But still, I would advise you that climate, at least the climate part, right? You should be reading once from GC Leong because that will help in you. Like, why do we read editorials? We can get everything from magazine and all that, no? But why do we read editorials? Because it forces us to think, right? We stop at places, then we kind of analyze what we have read, and then we connect what should be done and all that. That happens while we are reading an editorial, right? Similarly, when you'll be reading the climate types or at least the climate part of various chapters in GC Long, you will be forced to think. So in that effect, you will be revising your climatology 2-3 times, right? At least the wind patterns and pressure belt kind of pressure belt topics, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So this is advisable from my side. You do, it's excellent. You don't do, that's still on you, right? So we are done with equatorial monsoon savanna, right? Desert and steppes, right? Next, we'll be moving on to the margin climates, right? Marginal climates or on the coast or climates on the coast, divided into four basically. One on the latitude, based on the latitude, like warm temperate and cold temperate, a bit northward. And number two on the basis of west and east coast, right? So if this is a basic thing, this you can say warm temperate eastern or western, right? This is the warm temperate eastern, cold temperate western, cold temperate eastern, right? Warm temperate western margin Mediterranean, right? What are the regions? I hope everything is audible and there is no disturbance, right?
Sir, you are audible.
Right. So now number one, which we'll be discussing is the Mediterranean type of climate, right? So these are the regions. Let me first mark it. Since it is by the name of Mediterranean, number one around the Mediterranean region, right? Number two, this Californian region, west. You see, it is on the west. Everything is developing on the west. So west, west. Next west is this region, right? This region, these regions, right? So this is the region of Mediterranean type of climate. We'll be seeing this, right? So Mediterranean region, right? Californian region, we discussed in America. Chile region, South America, South African, South Australia, right? Climate, this is one of the most important climate types to be understood as far as the shifting of pressure belts is concerned, right? What happens in the summer? See, in summer, I'll be showing this with map also. In summer, under the influence of offshore trades, but in winter, under the influence of westerly winds, right? So as a result, this is a very peculiar type of climate in that it is having rainfall in the winter, but summer season goes dry, right? Absence of shade, that there is no shade in this climate type. It is a very distinctive feature, and this is a very important fact you should be remembering. In winter, temperate cyclonic disturbances in this region, especially the Mediterranean region, they are carried to India by southwest tropical jet stream, right? And this is the reason for winter rainfall in India, right? The rainfall which is happening in winters and it is useful for the rabi crop. This is kind of the disturbances which happen in Mediterranean region, and they are carried into India by the tropical jet streams, right? Now I'll be explaining the shifting of pressure belts in this region, right? See, this is the equator, right? summer, in summer, your ITCZ is somewhere here, right? In winter, your ITCZ is somewhere here, right? What happens in summer, that the trade winds in this region, they are kind of like this. They are offshore in this region, right? Right? And westerlies are somewhat like this, a bit upward, because everything moves northwards na, in summer, right? Did you get this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Got it.
Right? So trade winds are like this in summer. They are offshore and they're not able to bring rainfall. What happens in winters, the whole wind pattern shifts downwards, right? So let's say ITCZ has shifted here. Your trade winds will kind of shift here or a bit southward even, right? So your trade winds will be like this and your westerlies, they will be like this, right? So westerlies, they are the major reason in winters why rainfall is happening in Mediterranean region, right? Did you understand this concept? Offshore trade winds in summer season, they are not responsible for rain, and as a result, the season goes dry. But westerlies, they are kind of onshore in the winter season, and as a result, Mediterranean region has rainfall in winters, right? Anyone having any doubt in this?
No, sir.
One second. So we've discussed this, right? Discussed again. Now, the vegetation in this region, scrubs, scattered and stunted trees. Why? Because though rainfall happens in winter, it is still lesser in overall precipitation, right? So the vegetation is not that luxurious or dense, right? That's why shrubs are found, stunted trees are found, scattered stunted trees, right? Not nutritious grass, right? So uh, because of the lack of precipitation, the grass, it's somewhat like the savanna, not kind of steppies, right? It is not very nutritious, right? Trees with massive trunks, widespread roots. Again, the same reason why massive trunks, because they try to store water, right? Major growth after winter rainfall. When the winter rainfall happens, that's when the moisture comes there, and that is when after that time the major growth of the trees happens, right? Now the agriculture in this region, grains are present, but they are lesser as comparison to the citrus fruits cultivation, right? Why? Because citrus fruits, they develop very deep roots to survive the dry summer, and as a result, they uh, survive in the Mediterranean region, right? So the major agriculture crops in this region, it is the citrus fruits and not the grains, right? Grains are also present, but lesser predominant than the citrus fruits, right? And because of the citrus fruits, viticulture or the conversion of citrus fruits to various types of wines and etc., it is dominant economic activity of this region, and it is very specific to regions, right? Like the sherry is of Spain, right? And port wine is of Portugal, champagne is of France, right? So very specific taste and aroma of each kind of such drinks, right? Based on the different types of variety of citrus fruits which are growing in that region, right? Any doubt in Mediterranean climate? Next is the warm temperate eastern margin type of climate. It is found in the eastern margin and in the warm temperate regions, right? So on the lower latitude, what are the regions? Eastern China, Eastern USA Gulf region, South America, Africa, and Australia will be seeing the regions, right? See, this region, right? This Gulf region, this region, this is the Paraguay, Uruguay region, right? And this region, and bit of this region, right? This is known as natal type here. This region you have read in your history also. This is the natal Indian Congress which you have read. So this region is kind of known as natal region, and that's why the climate in South Africa here is known as the natal climate, right? This is known as the Gulf type of climate. Basically, different names specific to different regions, right? So I hope you are clear with the regions, right? So regions we have discussed. Rainfall throughout the year. Why? Because in these regions, monsoons they come in summers as well as winters, as well as the local cyclonic storms develop. Let's say that this is the region. If I am to draw, right, in summers, monsoons will come like this, right? So southeastern monsoons here, right? In winters, the monsoons come like this. So monsoons in both the seasons, as well as due to the local cyclonic storms, rainfall happens across the year, right? In the Gulf region, the effect of air masses and the Gulf Stream current and the hurricanes is predominant, right? Not much of the monsoons, right? Any doubt in this? Because this is a concept which needs to be understood. That due to the effect of monsoons and due to effect of various air masses, the Gulf Stream current, cyclonic storms, the precipitation happens throughout the year, right? In this type of climate, right? Long growing season, luxuriant vegetation, evergreen vegetation, broadleaf forest. Of course, if it is happening throughout the year, the rainfall is throughout the year. This is very much uh, understood, right? Intensive agriculture is found in China, especially of the rice agriculture, right? And in Gulf region, it is the cotton and tobacco, which is much more grown. Why? Because the climate suits these two crops. Because there is sunshine throughout the year, there is no frost, so tobacco is grown. Cotton is grown, and tobacco is also a favorable crop for this region, right? Any doubt in this climate? Next is the cool temperate western margin and cool temperate eastern margin. The western margin one is known as the British type, and the eastern margin is known as the Laurentian type, right? First, let us see the regions, right? These are the regions, right? Since it is the British type, so Britain and around Britain, this region, right? This region, you see that warm temperate was somewhat here, Mediterranean was somewhat here. Let me just, warm temperate was somewhere here, somewhat here, right? And cool temperate is somewhat here. So latitudinal difference, right? And a bit of here. Okay. So Britain and surrounding regions, Western Canada, Southern Chile, Tasmania, right? Australia, near Australia. The broad characteristics of climate, of this type of climate. Ideal for human comfort. We'll be seeing this. Not very warm summers and mild winters. Why? Because North Atlantic drift, the ocean current has a warming effect in this region, right? And as a result, because there is not major summer or no major winter, the annual range of temperature is quite less in this region. Rainfall happens throughout the year because westerlies are predominant throughout the year. I mean, westerlies shift, but they are kind of in a position to influence this region, right? And temperate cyclones are also predominant in this region, right? Now, this is one very important fact or point which you should remember, that this region witnesses 4 very distinct seasons: winter, summer, spring, and autumn, right? And this is a thing which is absent in the tropics, right? Did you get it? Absence of 4 seasons. You see, in India, you do not see. You know that this is spring, this is autumn, but it's not like that. You witness it very profoundly. But in British type of climate, it is very profoundly visible. You see that this is spring season has come, then this autumn season has come, winter season has come, summer season has come, right? Vegetation, deciduous trees, tall trees with good canopy cover because rainfall throughout the year, right? Pure strands and has great lumbering value, right? Because a particular species is found in a very large area. As a result, lumbering value is very high in this region, right? These are the types of trees: the oak, elm, and birch, right? And as far as the agriculture is concerned, market gardening related to fruits and vegetables. Why? Because this is a very rich region, and so in the market wise, very high demand, and people tend to spend very high. As a result, the consumption is very high. As a result, market gardening has developed very well in these regions, right? Mixed farming of both crops and animals and sheep rearing, these are predominant in these regions, right? Any doubt in British type of climate? Next, we move to the Laurentian type of climate. We'll see the regions first. The North America, Northeastern China and Japan. And this type of climate is absent in Southern Hemisphere, right? Why? Because at that latitude in Southern Hemisphere, there is no land. So this in Southern Hemisphere, there is no such climate, right? Let me tell you. This region around New York and this region, right? This was the China type, Gulf type, and above that it is the Laurentian type, right? So locations we have discussed, right? Intermediate between British and Siberian. This is in terms of location. Let me tell you. This is British type. This is where Siberian type of climate or the boreal type of climate comes. And this is where the Laurentian comes. So this is kind of intermediate between these two regions, right? Rainfall throughout in summer. Westerlies from moisture. Westerlies gain moisture from the Great Lakes, right? So if this is North America and this is the region, right? What happens that in summers westerlies pass like this, right? And there it is Great Lakes, and they gain moisture from the Great Lakes, and they bring rainfall in this region, right? This is the region of Great Lakes, and westerlies kind of pass like this, and they gain moisture and they bring rainfall in this region, right? In winter, also there is rainfall due to the effect of Gulf Stream because ITCZ shifts low downwards, and every trade wind belt or kind of the current pattern they kind of shift downward, right? And the polar easterlies also shift downward. So as a result, there is winter rainfall due to this, right? Next is the vegetation. This is basically the coniferous vegetation which is found here. And the agriculture, this is predominant of soya, potato, dairy farming, and fishing. Fishing we have discussed why, because we saw how the Gulf Stream current and the Labrador current and the East Greenland current they meet there, and a good fishing zones are developed in that region, as well as the Kuroshio and Oyashio. As a result, fishing is a very predominant occupation in this region, right? Clear with this? We've done all the major climates. Now, whatever is remaining, this is very easy. Like we can just discuss it here only. The Siberian type of climate and the polar type of climate, right? Northern Canada, northern Russia, severe winter, cool summer, precipitation is low, summer high due to, precipitation overall is low, but in summer it is higher than winter. Why? Because some convectional rainfall happens, right? And winters, and in winters, the precipitation is mostly in the form of snow, right? And what is the vegetation? Conifers, well adapted to this climate, right? Pine, fir, spruce, presence in pure stands, less species. That's why there is commercial viability, right? Again, I told you, when will there be a commercial viability? When there will be lesser number of species in one particular area, and you find it, one species dominates in one area, right? That's when the commercial viability comes in, right? Next is the polar type of climate, similar North Canada, North Russia, Alaska, Greenland. The periglacial climate, what does that mean? It means that there is freezing in winter and thawing in summer. Thawing means that kind of the ice sheets break due to summer season. As a result, moisture it gets into the rocks and everyone cracks like that, right? The cracks of rocks and let's say soil and everything. This is known as thawing, right? Overall, it is a permanently frozen region, very long severe winters, cool brief summers, and 6 months day, 6 month night. This is the cycle which is followed here. Precipitation mainly happens in the type of snow, right? Tundra vegetation is found, stunted birches, willows, mosses, lichens, wolves, foxes, and reindeers, right? This one fact was regarding the boreal type of climate or the Siberian type of climate, that lumbering is very predominant in this region. There is lesser agriculture, and fur rearing is also a predominant occupation, right? Now let's just mark the regions on. See, the Siberian type of climate, this is the region, right? This one. And the polar type of climate, this is the region, right? So just the latitudinal difference, right? So if we have discussed all the types of climates, any doubt to anyone in all the types of climates? One small topic which was left, it was La Nina and El Nino. I'll be discussing it briefly here. We discussed how the Peruvian current, it is a cold current and happens due to upwelling. Due to the cold current, there is high pressure which is developed here. High pressure means that there will be wind movements from this area, right? This region has high pressure and wind kind of moves like this towards Australia, right? It is moving like this from east to west, right? And in Australia, low pressure is developed, and as a result, rainfall happens here, and this cycle of winds is completed, right? So this is the usual thing which is happening. Let's say this is South America, and this is Australia. So wind pattern is like this: high pressure, low pressure, right? But what happens? This is the normal condition. But what happens in the El Nino years, and now no one actually knows what is the reason for the occurrence of this phenomena. But what happens in the El Nino years, the cold Peruvian current, it kind of turns warm, right? Now when it turns warm, the condition of high pressure that gets milder there and it develops into low pressure, right? This develops as low pressure, and as a result the wind movements change, and Australia it develops high pressure, so wind movements kind of go like this. As a result, the rainfall happens near South America, and Australia suffers drought because high pressure develops there, right? So basically this is the El Nino condition.
जीते नहीं तू कर देना मेट्रो कैश ले पेटीएम कर दिया था पेटीएम से यूपीआई आईडी तो हो जाता है ना पेटीएम से यूपीआई आईडी कैसे कर सकते हैं
So could you mute Jahid?
Yes, I am muted. Right. So you understood El Nino, that happens because the pressure conditions across the southern Pacific Ocean, it changes, right? And what are the implications? In the normal year, there is rainfall in Australia, but lesser rainfall in the Peruvian coast, and as a result, there is upwelling in the Peruvian coast, and which is important for the fishing business, right? But in the El Nino years, Australia suffers drought, and as a result of drought, the forest fires and everything, and the South America it gets rainfall, and as a result of rainfall, the fishing business there collapses, right? And El Nino also has an effect on the monsoons of India. Why? Right? Why? I'll be telling you, right? Similar to El Nino, there is one condition which is known as La Nina. what happens in La Nina, that the normal conditions, they get very strong. So high pressure develops very strong in Southern America. As a result, there is very strong upwelling in that region. As a result, very high fishing. But what happens due to very high fishing, the supply gets very high, and as a result, the prices crash in that region, right? The fish prices, they crash because the supply is very much and the prices crash. So La Nina kind of has negative impacts on South America. I mean, both El Nino and La Nina kind of have a negative impact on South America, right? Now we'll be discussing the impact on Indian monsoon, right? I told you that in normal conditions, if this is Australia, if this is Australia, this is South America, let's say this is India. In normal conditions, this is low pressure and this is Africa, right? In normal conditions, this is high pressure, this is low pressure, this is high pressure, and in the Tibet, this is low pressure. So this cycle kind of develops, right? Oh, sorry, this one, right? This cycle is very well developed, and as a result, the wind movements, they kind of favor each other, right? But what happens, and as a result, monsoon is very good. But in the El Nino years, what happens is Africa, India, Australia. What happens in El Nino year? This develops as a high pressure area, and this is also a high pressure area. This is a low pressure area, and this high pressure develops. This cuts the wind, and as a result, the monsoon is weakened. Right? Did you get it? Because of the development of high pressure in the Australian region, the overall cycle between the Mascarene, this is the Mascarene region, and Australian region, this gets weakened. And as a result, the whole wind system of the monsoons in the Indian Ocean, that gets weakened, right? And this affects the monsoons negatively, right? Did you get it? Anyone
Yes, sir.
having any doubt on this? This was a brief idea of El Nino, right? Now, for some previous questions which we'll be discussing, right? So that you can actually sense the things that, yes, we were on the right track, right? And I'll advise or I'll request कि you people participate in these previous year questions, right? So, first question, what could be the main reason or reasons for the formation of African and Eurasian desert belt, right? Located in subtropical high pressure cell under the influence of warm ocean currents. Who will give the answer for this?
Option B is wrong, sir, because they are under the influence of cold ocean currents. The desert
Right,
region.
they're right. They are under the influence of cold ocean currents, right? Not the warm ocean currents. As a result, answer is A1 only, right? Westerlies in southern hemisphere are stronger and more persistent than in the northern hemisphere. Remember, we discussed furious 40s, roaring 50s, and screaming 60s and all that, right? They are more stronger than the northern hemisphere. Why? It has less landmass compared to northern hemisphere. Coriolis force is stronger in southern hemisphere compared to northern hemisphere. One only, both, two only, neither.
Sir, I think Coriolis force is not dependent on other factors, right?
Right. Answer is this one, right? One only.
One only, sir.
Because Coriolis only depends on the latitude, and with the latitude, its strength increases. So at equator, it is 0, and like towards the pole, it gets maximum, right? So Coriolis, it's not like that on the same level of latitude, it is different in southern and northern hemisphere, right? But yes, southern hemisphere is lesser land. As a result, the westerlies there are more predominant, right? Next is La Nina is suspected to have caused recent floods in Australia. How is La Nina different from El Nino? La Nina is characterized by unusually cold ocean temperature in the equatorial Indian Ocean, whereas El Nino is characterized by warm ocean temperature in equatorial Pacific Ocean. El Nino has adverse effect on southwest monsoon of India, but La Nina has no effect on monsoon and climate. Statement 1, what do you think?
So that unusually cold ocean temperature will be there in Western Australia, no sir?
So it will be in Pacific Ocean, right?
Yes, sir.
So this statement is wrong. And what about this statement?
Sir, first
See,
part
a
of the
very
statement is correct, sir. El Nino has adverse effect on southwest monsoon because it brings up the drought conditions with us.
right.
La Nina. I'm not sure of La Nina, sir.
See, even if you're not sure, na, see, but La Nina has no effect. I mean, कुछ तो effect होगा ही ना, ऐसा हो नहीं
Yes, sir.
सकता
Yes,
that
sir.
there is no effect. So these are the kind of extreme statements जो UPSC which it used to give back then 5-6 years earlier, but now they have kind of lessened a bit. But still, if these statements come, you can guess that no effect means that whatsoever, not even 0.001% of effect. But you know how that is practically not possible. And it is impossible to prove that it is having no effect, absolutely no effect, right? So this statement is automatically wrong. Answer is neither, right?
Yes,
A
sir.
layer in Earth's atmosphere, ये तो easy question है. It is ionosphere, facilitate radio communication. Why? Presence of ozone causes the reflection of radio waves to Earth. Radio waves have very long wavelength.
Option 1 is wrong, sir, because ozone is present in the stratosphere.
Right. And
Radio
it is
waves.
basically because of the presence of ions in that region that ionosphere has kind of, it helps in communication, right?
Yes, sir.
It is not because of ozone, but because of the ions, right?
Yes, sir.
And this is a right statement. It has very long wavelength, right? Radio waves. So 2 only, right? If a tropical rainforest is removed, it does not regenerate quickly as compared to tropical deciduous forest. This is because we discussed this today. Soil of rainforest is deficient in nutrients. Why? Leaching. Right?
Yes, sir.
What causes winds to deflect towards left in southern hemisphere? We know the reason, Coriolis.
Rotation
But
of
why
the
is Coriolis? Rotation, right? A geographical region following distinct characteristics: wet and dry climate, mild and wet winter, evergreen oak trees. Which one? See this. This thing is sufficient to tell you the answer. Wet winter.
Mediterranean, sir.
Right. Mediterranean. I told you, na? Only one region which has dry summer and wet winter, right?
Yes, sir.
Annual range of temperature is greater in Pacific Ocean than in Atlantic Ocean. It is greater in Northern Hemisphere than in Southern Hemisphere. What about the second statement? What do you think?
Second is correct, sir.
Second is correct.
Second
because
is
of
correct,
the
right?
land and land volume factor.
Right. And what about first? Similar concept. You apply the similar concept, land and everything,
Yes, sir.
which has a higher proportion of water, which has a lower proportion of water.
Pacific Ocean has more water.
So Pacific Ocean kind of has a moderate range than the Atlantic Ocean, and Atlantic Ocean has a higher annual range, right?
Yes, sir.
So answer is 2 only, right? Consider the following statements. Either of the two belts over the oceans at about 30 to 35 north and south is known as horse latitude. I guess no doubt, ये तो हमने डिस्कस किया था उस दिन. Horse latitudes are low pressure belts. ये बताओ. Low or high?
No, sir. High, sir. High pressure.
High, right. So answer is 1 only. Wind patterns are clockwise in the northern hemisphere and anti-clockwise in southern hemisphere. Direction, Coriolis effect. What do you think? Let me draw it for you. Then you tell me. ये wind pattern है आपका northern hemisphere. What do you think? ये clockwise है या anti-clockwise? ऐसा कुछ wind pattern ऐसे जा रहा है फिर ऐसे जा रहा है. ये clockwise है या anti-clockwise है?
It is
Clockwise है
clockwise.
ये, right?
Yes, sir.
और ये है southern hemisphere में, right? ये anti-clockwise है, right?
Yes, sir.
Anyone है? तो ये statement correct है हमारी, ये statement भी correct है हमारी. Why? Because it is basically of the Coriolis effect of the Coriolis force. Why this is happening, right?
Sir, जब tropical cyclones की formation होगी, during that time winds anti-clockwise पे move होते हैं, sir.
हाँ, वो थोड़ा सा एक peculiar concept है. It needs to be remembered in that manner. क्योंकि वो क्या होता है कि expire वो मान लो कि एक low pressure बना ना, मान लो ऐसे वो low pressure बना यहाँ पे, तो northern hemisphere में ना it kind of ऐसे move होते हैं. Let me just मतलब इस तरीके से ना it kind of ऐसे वो gather होती है एक दूसरे की तरफ, right? तो इसलिए कहते हैं कि वो एंटी क्लॉकवाइज डायरेक्शन में गैदर हो रही है, राइट? बट वो
Yes.
उस चीज को थोड़ा सा अलग रखना और इस चीज को थोड़ा सा अलग रखना, बस याद करना तो याद कर लो, समझने लायक इसमें कुछ है नहीं है खास, राइट?
Okay, sir.
Right. So whatever I wanted to discuss in oceanography and climatology, I've discussed the approach with you. What will be the approach? We cannot cover everything right from scratch, but we'll try to cover the most important topics or the most complex topics in the least possible amount of time with maximum clarity. And this is the way I won't be giving you very lengthy or very big notes, because I believe that is amounting to duplication, and we'll be discussing the previous year questions, right? Now this was the part of geography which is usually a bit difficult to comprehend. That's why people might be feeling that what is happening. But if you are a bit consistent or a bit persistent, this course can immensely help you in your prelims revision, right? So this was the basic outline of the course. If anyone is having any doubt in this, feel free to ask me. Any doubt regarding climatology, oceanography, or basic outline of the course or anything?
Can you explain El Nino just once?
El Nino, it's like El Nino is because of the change in the temperature of the Peruvian current, right? What happens in the normal years, Peruvian current is cold due to the upwelling, and it is having high pressure in that region, and as a result, low pressure is developed in the Australian region, and due to the Australian region and the Indian Australian region, it receives heavy rainfall, right? And this also aids the monsoon. But what happens in the El Nino condition, the low pressure is developed in the Peruvian coast.
You are not audible.
I think सर का इंटरनेट कनेक्शन का कुछ इश्यू हुआ होगा, सर got disconnected ना.
So, am I audible again? There was a brief interruption, right? Was explaining El Nino. During the El Nino year, there is development of low pressure in the South American region, and there is development of high pressure in Australian region. As a result, Australia faces droughts, and South American region faces rainfall, and as a result, the fishing business collapses in the South American, especially the Chilean region, right? And due to development of high pressure in Australia, that kind of disrupts the monsoonal cycle in the Indian Ocean, and that has a negative impact on the monsoons of India, right? So this was the brief about El Nino, right? I was audible now.
Yes, sir.
Any other doubt to anyone? If you
So like
don't have doubt, you
recently,
may leave the session.
so like recently in the news it came up also like there's a fifth ocean that's coming up. So can you expect some questions on that front?
Yes, if it's a major news, it should be covered in your current affairs, right? But nothing for me to tell now. I mean, it's a current affair development. If you can tell me, I may be able to maybe comprehend it and tell you. But as of now, I am not able to recall that news. But yes, if it's a major current affair development, you should be aware of it.
Sir, one
Right.
doubt was there, like the number of cyclones in Bay of Bengal is much more compared to Arabian Sea. But now Arabian Sea also seeing more cyclones.
Mhm. That's because in the usual conditions, Bay of Bengal has higher sea surface temperature, right, than the Arabian Sea, and also the uh, movement of cyclones is from east to west. As a result, more cyclones, they kind of we see that more cyclones are developing in Bay of Bengal and they're moving towards India east to west, right? But in Arabian Sea, due to lesser sea surface temperature and because uh, it is towards the west of India, the major cyclones, whatsoever is developed, they kind of moved towards the Iran and the Pakistan region. But due to the climate change, there is disruption in the sea surface temperature and let's say overall atmospheric circulation patterns. And as a result, there is now the development of cyclones in Arabian Sea also, right? There's disruption in trade winds, the monsoonal wind patterns, the ocean currents, and everything that is getting disrupted due to climate change, right?
Okay, sir.
So, if anyone has any other doubt, please ask. If you do not have doubt, you may leave the session, right? We are done with whatever I had to teach you, right?